Guys, it's Jen with Spirited Saturdays, and this video is a little late in the day. Actually, it's a lot late in the day. It's officially Sunday, but I'm still technically counting it as Saturday because I haven't gone to sleep yet. So you can just feel free to go ahead and do the same. No, sorry about that. It's been a very long day, but a very good day, and I'm happy to say that it's late for the reasons that it was, because it actually ties into this video quite a bit, which is about identity. Well, this whole rotation is about identity, but yeah, it's something that I want to touch on specifically is identity and how it relates to my music. And this week's topic is identity and therapy. So like how therapy can help us tie the past and present together and integrate, help us integrate different parts of ourselves and different pieces of our history and move forward. And yeah, and so how therapy has helped me and how we feel it could be beneficial, and why. And so, okay, so that was a little long-winded. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Sorry if this is like a little all over the place. I'm going to stop apologizing. So basically, therapy can help in a number of different ways, one of which is objectivity. The therapist has the capability of seeing you in a way that you probably don't see yourself if you are struggling with an eating disorder, so they can remind you of who you are and what the eating disorder has stolen from you, and often they could offer you a point of reference if they knew you before you were sick, or they could kind of extract things from you that they see in you and can tell you what they really see in you, that so much more than, and so much that just isn't an eating disorder, that you're not an eating disorder. It could tie the past and present together, helping you see how certain issues in your past may have contributed to what's going on now and how you are now, why you react the way you do to things, the sorts of life experiences that you've had as a result of your past, and how maybe you continue to reinforce your past by acting in certain ways now, even though you might not have a reason to anymore. Like you might have been acting in a crisis before, and maybe that crisis doesn't exist, but that's what you learned. So you're coping in ways that you don't need to cope anymore, or ways that you don't need to anymore. So maybe you're continuing patterns that aren't serving a purpose, and so therapy can help you change those patterns and start to introduce new healthy coping behaviors and healthy ways of looking at yourself and your perspective on your outlook, your general outlook on life, and starting fresh and like really taking the past and creating something good and new, based on who you are inherently, and not who you are as a result of your past. I hope this is making some sense. Therapy can allow you to have a connection with another person, not just any person, but somebody who will help you, who's there to help you feel that your true identity is recognized and validated, and so that you may learn to embrace who you are. It helps to give you a reality check between what's coming from you and what's coming from the eating disorder, and it's a point of reference into who you were before the eating disorder and what you have to gain in recovery. My therapist, when I was sick, would say, I'm not talking to Jen. Where's Jen? I'm talking to an eating disorder. She would be really blunt with me and just, like just tell me that, how do I even put this so that it makes sense? Just tell me basically that I had gone so far from who she used to see me as. And it's interesting because I didn't really see that. I don't think I saw that to the extent, that she saw it. So now looking back, I can kind of see it, but it's still really hard for me to, like, I don't know, I guess there's no way that I could really know. I could see it with other people, but it's really hard for me to have that perspective for myself because my experience was that I was acting fine. So it's very hard for me. I know logically I wasn't, but it's hard for me now. So to understand myself in that state as the way I was. I think by definition in that state, I wasn't like fully there to experience myself as I was. So that part of my brain didn't form right. So I don't think I can remember it accurately, even if I tried. So she was there to help me as much as she could in terms of letting me know how it really was. And and in the aftermath, she is there to help me recognize myself again and recognize how I've built on the person that I was before, and how I've integrated my goals from before the eating disorder, and used the eating disorder experience to have more perspective and to have more compassion and to integrate the experience and integrate my recovery into my whole entire being and into the things that I do. Therapy also helps you use the past in a productive way. So all the reasons you may have developed an eating disorder, anything that may have happened in your life, instead of dealing with them through the eating disorder, therapy helps you deal with them in a healthy and often expressive way, and a way that expands your growth, not just helping you cope and not just keeping you recovered at baseline, but actually expanding your growth. This is what I've done with music, and I continue to do it. Losing music was a huge part of why I relapsed into my eating disorder. When I was first sick, for a while, I used music to cope with the pain of having an eating disorder and the isolation. But after a while, I lost that music, and in recovery, I did gain it again. But some of my experiences well into my recovery led me to feeling like I'd lost it for good. So I relapsed. That was part of why I relapsed. But now, well into my recovery, I'm pretty sure I'm very nearing the recovered. I know, I go back and forth with it a lot. But anyway, well into my recovery, I did, even a little into my recovery, I still felt like the music was gone. Now I feel like it's back. And therapy helped me piece together that puzzle, what I had before, why I was motivated in the first place, what scared me, what stopped me, why I felt I needed to numb or avoid that part of myself, and then ultimately molding or sculpting the eating disorder recovery journey into my art, into my music. And now my music serves several purposes, one of which is to spread awareness and hope for eating disorders, and to help people feel less alone. So I've integrated every step of my recovery process into my music and have built my music on that in large part, so that when I share it with people, I'm sharing some part of the journey, some part of the whole, but keeping in mind that hope is part of that journey, and recovery is part of that journey. And it's very important, to level with yourself and to say, I had to be here before I was able to get here. It's important to honor the pain that preceded the recovery. Where we came from is just as important as where we ended up. But where we end up is ultimately what we want to celebrate. And where we continue to go is important to honor, it's important to honor right now in the present, because many of us aren't where we want to be, and maybe we aren't as recovered as we could be, or we know we could be, but we're further along than we once were. So honoring the present is necessary because it will get us to where we need to go, just as honoring the past allowed us to get where we are now. And by honoring, I just mean acknowledging, accepting, exploring, working through. Therapy uses skills to focus on all kinds of things: interpersonal, emotional, expressive, self-care, mindfulness, behavioral, cognitive aspects of our self. And it uses actual therapeutic tools to help you integrate the different pieces of yourself. And it can be very effective also for trauma and the accompanying dissociation that is often inherent in people whose eating disorders result, at least in part, from trauma. That need or that unconscious reaction to kind of shut down or cut off is inherent, often inherent in eating disorders. So therapy can be a great way to allow a person to feel that pain that has been held inside the trauma memories, stored in the brain, and we can know that it's safe to feel those feelings and then be able to, over time, let go. Part of letting go is integrating the parts of yourself that you've cut off from feeling. So in this way, the past and present can unite and have compassion for one another, and together, kind of, strengthen, and with that strength, you can move forward. And I mean you now, so you're free to move forward once you have, what's the word? Integrated. Once you've integrated like the past and the present, you're free to move forward. You can let go. And it can be you doing this with all your vulnerabilities and all your fears. They're there to be felt and faced, not you with your eating disorder to avoid and numb out. Therapy has been amazingly useful for me. Even just being playful is therapeutic, and makes me look at myself in ways I'm not used to. It helps me let my guard down. And the thing about therapy is that everything is done with the purpose of your well-being in mind. There's always a point, even to small talk, and even something like eye contact, for example. Therapy can be amazing if you find the right person for your needs and your personality. So this, just to tie this up, this really does, in my therapy, we've worked a lot on preparing for this artistic musical project that I've been involved in, that we put on today and yesterday. And I've focused so much on this in therapy, and just dealing with all of the feelings that were coming up during it. And it's been a long process. And, I feel like a huge release now that it's over, but in the best way, in a blissful way. And I know that is just so much because of my recovery, and just documenting that through words, and continuing to check in with myself and with her, and continuing to face parts of myself that are very scary for me to look at, super scary. And I mean, you wouldn't even think that they were the most obvious things, just I don't even know, just really things that I've never faced before with anybody that really do scare the crap out of me. So it's just really important because it really, really helped me prepare for the performances. And the thing is, therapy helps you have your voice, your own voice. It helps you extract. I like that word, extract, just taking it out from you, what's purely you. And I was able to do that, and to use my voice, and to have a true presence, and to really honor that presence, and honor and just be grateful and happy to be with people around me who I was sharing this experience with. I know this is just in such a large part due to my growth in therapy, my recovery, and my willingness and determination, and to get the music back, to find it again, and that willingness to let go and let it come back also, and that willingness to be open to it coming back. Anyway, this is that's my own kind of personal journey with that. There's a lot of integration there, and I'm using my past to help me go forward. So I hope this helped, and I hope it wasn't ridiculously frazzled, and it's almost 15 minutes. Oh my god, I gotta wash my makeup. Okay, anyway, all right, have a great night, and a great week. See you next week. Bye.